First, welcoming everybody to this Ben webinar. Wanted to talk just briefly why are we doing this. You know, we believe that for our local community, our entrepreneurial community, we want to provide, education and content to folks who are running businesses or start thinking about starting businesses. So we want to bring in, folks that have really strong acumen in certain subjects, provide you the opportunity to learn from them. And then more than that, all of the folks who are doing our webinars are coming in, running businesses around the theme that they're doing. So, if there's occasion to use their services, this is an opportunity to sort of evaluate them. But mostly this is education. It's for you. The rules of engagement for our webinars are, basically, if you want to come in, please use the chat function. It gets much better when we have a lot of folks on the line rather than just jumping in verbally. Myself and Kate, who you see on the screen, possibly, we'll try to manage the chat function. We don't want to interrupt Adam too much, and we'll just go by the flow of the conversation when we inject those questions. I'm not going to spend too much time on Adam's, and I hate reading stuff. He sent me a great paragraph to introduce himself. I'll let him do a little bit more of the introduction, but first time I ever sort of, met a shock jock. So it's not Howard Stern, but Adam's former life was on radio. And I think he told me that you did an interview. It might've been an interview with a basketball player that you thought it merited wider attention. And you tried to get, this interview that you did more attention. And that sort of drove you into, YouTube, how you market, and how you get the attention of folks. And you ended up getting your interview widely circulated and going viral on YouTube in the early days. So that sort of stimulated your interest in digital marketing and the power of that platform. I think you're born and bred East Coast guy. Went to Harvard using some of that knowledge, back in the days, and then, migrating into this digital marketing and how it can be effective using both creative talents, but also using metrics. And you'll talk about both in your webinar today. So with that, I'm gonna go on mute. I'm gonna pass it on to Adam. You can continue your introduction and then go into the topic, and we'll take questions as they come up. So Adam, thank you very much for leading this webinar today, and I'll pass the baton over to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, that is right. My old job, what I used to do was a shock jock up in Santa Barbara, like we were talking about. I kind of had one of the first viral videos, just totally by chance, and kind of because I saw that the internet was slowly taking over from traditional media. So when I grew up, I was a big fan of radio, TV, newspapers. I actually did all of those as careers. Like I might as well have been in silent films, because as I was growing up, those got eaten away. And I realized that YouTube was actually going to be a huge thing. So I put up a video, and some of the techniques and what I'll show you is a little bit of what worked for that. But yeah, I did end up having one of the first viral videos. Was on, it's the #7 viral video of all time on Sports Illustrated. It was on the Best Damn Sports Show. It was on Best Week Ever. Now when I see the video, I'm like, man, I look way young. But so let me pull up the slides and we can go through this. Here. So this is actually gonna be very much more business focused than typically my ones about radio stuff. Okay, so to make a video, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's pull this all up, and we want this one right here. All right, so does everyone see the basically just the slide that says Ben webinar? All right, I'm seeing a thumbs up. Let me move my head. Give me one more second. I'm going to, I think I need to do that. All right, so now does everyone just see the slide says Ben webinar? Okay, cool. Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about how to generate more revenue, more clients, and a better return on investment through efficient internet marketing. And what you're going to find from going through this journey with me is that I'm a practitioner. So not only am I going to present you with real life examples from our clients, but from our own business as well, that we've grown using these exact same processes. We eat, breathe, and sleep efficiency and streamlining in internet marketing. So that's really important to talk about here. And the structure we use to achieve this is paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels. And I truly believe that we're some of the best in the world at it. So if you stick around to the end of this, my promise to you is that there's going to be a teach tape. It's not going to be a whole bunch of pitches. It's not going to be a whole bunch of pie in the sky ideas. What I've really done with this, from talking with Mark and talking with the team, is really make sure to have real world examples and real world takeaways that you can use today if you want. So let's get into this. So I want to start by this quote from John Wanamaker, who actually opened up Wanamakers in the 1830s. And I remember there was a big Wanamaker building in Philly. So he says that half of the money I spent on advertising is wasted. And the trouble is I don't know which half. So I put this in for two reasons. One is the first to show you, look, people have been having trouble with with advertising and marketing for years. It's nothing new, but here's the difference. We live in an age where you not only should know which half is working, you should also know why it isn't working and what you can do to improve upon it, and also what to double down on. You honestly should be able to increase efficiency on just data alone. And one of the biggest knocks on internet marketing right now that I hear is that it doesn't work. So I get a lot of people fill out my forms. I do live webinars. I write for a lot of people. So I do get a lot of inbound and they say, look, I've tried it. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I got a lot of clicks. It doesn't work. So I would say that it does work and people just aren't doing it efficiently. And that's really one of the biggest issues. So in reality, you should know not only what's driving conversions, but also how those conversions are performing from a business standpoint. And I do want to take a moment specifically to talk about what a conversion is, because this is a internet marketing term, but it revolves around business. So a conversion is the business action you want a user to take on your site. Could be submitting a form, could be an inbound call, certainly could be a purchase, but it has to be an action and it has to have a business result. So this is a screenshot of the dashboard that we provide for our clients so that they can get clarity into what conversions are, and what their conversions are, and also how it compares to known industry benchmarks. So things like calls, things like form fills, things like cost per acquisition. These are all things you should know pretty much instantly. Like there are ways to do this and there are ways to make this clear and clean so you know exactly what's going on. And I did want to talk a little bit just quickly about why internet marketing rather than traditional marketing in terms of efficiency. So when you compare internet marketing to something like radio or TV, or really even PR, internet marketing is much more trackable, much more predictable, and much more scalable when it comes to real world business events, business results, and that's what makes it more efficient. So I'm not sure if any of you have tried radio, but like Mark said, I was a radio morning show host for about 5 years. And let me tell you, like the accuracy is really not there for advertisers. I didn't know if I said this or if I said that, how many people were going to come and see me at like a Toyota-thon. So let's talk about this even further, because I want to talk about internet marketing, but even comparing what we do, which is paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels, to something like SEO in terms of efficiency. So paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels are much more efficient because you can operate much quicker. When you turn on a paid campaign, you drive the traffic you want that instant and see what happens in the real world when prospects come into contact with your offer. So the efficiency is in the speed to market and the precision, because you tell Google or Facebook exactly who sees the ad, what the copy says, and what page to send them to. And you also have enhanced data to work with. And you absolutely should try SEO, right? You should try all the markets just to see what works for you. But it's very inefficient because of the time it takes. And also with SEO, you can't really tell Google with any accuracy what you want to show for, nor can you tell it what page you want to show for. You can suggest it, you can optimize for it, but you can't tell it. You also don't get all the data. If you look in your analytics, the amount of what they call keywords not provided is staggering. And that's all the data that you don't get from SEO that you do get from things like paid traffic. So the point I'm trying to make in all this is if you want speed to market, predictability, and scalability, I recommend paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels as the way to go and the most efficient means in your marketing. So it is important to think about this because I'm sure this webinar is just one of the millions of things that are going to be coming at you today. So I just want to take a look at SEO right now because people ask about that. People also think I do that, which I don't. So let's just look at the status of SEO right now. So Google announces their algorithm updates all the time. Google's always updating their algorithm because they have to, because people are trying to basically hack it and beat the game and basically make their search results work for them. But then Google does come back and beat them. Mobile Geddon was a big one, Core Web Vitals, and others really make it difficult that if you've done a lot of work and Google delists you or demotes you, it's really hard to come back from. So, you're all inundated with the newest strategy, but this kind of clogs your thinking from focusing on the larger strategic initiatives and what's really going on here. Because at the end of the day, human psychology is human psychology, right? How we buy has changed, but why we buy has not changed. And you don't have to do that much or even know that much to get the results that you want. You just have to do and know the right things that will increase your efficiency and improve your margins. So you kind of need to know the nuances of paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels that are not covered in all the generic blog posts that you see online. Blog posts whose kind of sole purpose is to convince you to give you the money to the company, and then they're going to drive internet results that are not business results. And we'll talk a little bit about the difference. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to give you 3 strategies that are working really well right now, that have worked in the past, and will continue to work in the future. And of course, I got to start with a little bit of social proof, just so you know why I'm qualified to talk about it, not just some hilarious guy from the radio. I've been doing this business for quite some time. So I want to really point out something here. What I'm not going to talk about is show you blurred out clients that I can't talk about with screenshots of clicks that they get every month. I don't care about clicks. I care about business results. So if I have one mantra and you take away nothing else, focus on business results, because you can't pay the rent in clicks. So this is a verified case study from one of our clients, Kukui'ula, a luxury real estate agency in Kauai. And like quite a few of our other clients, they came to us and they said they tried internet marketing and that didn't work for them. Their previous marketing agency had promised them the world, and what they got was a lot of cheap clicks. After applying our methodology to their campaign, we were able to get them more leads within the first month than the past 6 months combined. And that's Carmel's quote up there. And we practice what we preach here. Like I said, we focus on business results for clients, and we back it up with loads of verified case studies. You won't see us the focus in any of our case studies that we increase the amount of clicks, because as I always say, you can't pay your employees in clicks. And the beautiful thing about paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels is the speed to market, the control, the trackability. It just continues to grow and scale over time after you've built that foundation. And as you add each new lead, it continues to grow your business. It's the opposite of any other path to market. It adds fuel to the fire. And that's one of the reasons why it's so powerful, because it grows and scales with campaigns and produces real world data instantly. You're not just sitting there writing these articles for months on end without knowing it. Like, I'm sure you guys have been in these situations. You don't know if it'll ever work. If you're happy with the quality and the quantity of the leads and the sales you're getting, you just increase the budget of the campaign. Another verified case study from Bamier Smith, which is a law firm out of Santa Barbara, which, as we were saying before the call, my favorite place. I put this in just to show you that what we do can work across a lot of industries and verticals. And you can see that when we applied our framework, we were able to triple the amount of leads that they received from the previous marketing service, which is actually both SEO and paid traffic, versus just the paid traffic and conversion optimized funnels. Again, I want to point out that we're talking about business metrics here, 3x of leads. We try to speak business. ROAS, MQLs, marketing qualified leads, SQL, sales qualified leads. Like, I know the internet is fun and we have a funny name. My company's name is Nerds Do It Better. But when it comes to business, I do take it seriously. And another verified case I want to show you, and I think that this one really will be more effective for this audience, is when it comes to cutting edge. We need to think about, does this work for cutting edge, right? Because great, people are looking for lawyers, people are looking for houses. We do a lot of work with real estate agents. But what about when there's new products and there isn't demand? I get that. So let's take a look at this one. This is another client who came to me, tried internet marketing, didn't work. Much like other 2 previous verified case studies, been burned big time before. So this is Cloud Medical. They're out of Colorado. And what they do is called direct primary care, which at the time and currently is still a brand new form of healthcare. Almost no one knew what it was. There was no search volume. So it had to be a Facebook play. So after applying our framework to his funnel, not only did he get people in his area to know what direct primary care was, importantly, he was able to double his membership. Again, a business metric. We didn't tell Dr. Dave to check out how many clicks he got to your page or, hey, lots of people like your post. We got him real world business results using our paid traffic and conversion optimized funnel framework, where we try to get as close to the business metrics as possible and work backwards from there. And more importantly, it is just one funnel. So again, when Dr. Chusik found what worked, we just copied the same funnel. And when he opened a new location, because he's a couple in Colorado, we just used the same funnel there. So we're getting these quick wins by attacking the right opportunities, following the data, and then stacking them for long-term growth. It gets very, very lethal when we do this. This one comes from Compass Real Estate. We were hired by the San Diego office to do paid traffic conversion optimized funnels. And in our strategy discovery meeting, we found that buyer and seller leads are worth very different amounts of money to real estate agents. Using this as my North Star, We created very specific conversion optimized funnels, which I'll show you a bit later in this webinar. I'll walk you through each step. We increased leads by 700%. And we helped them drastically not only increase their buyer leads, but also their seller leads as well, which is what they really cared about, all from following the exact same strategy that I've covered in the previous verified case studies. And this is the last case study just to show you. I put this in one, just to kind of break up the slides, and two, because you want to check out lead quizzes. They verified this as well. And I have a little video on their site where I actually walk through the campaign. So if you want to see the ads and all that stuff. So they're Love Disruptors. They're an information and coaching company that helps blended post-divorce families improve their relationships. And honestly, I just think they're great people doing a great thing. But as you can see, we got them 500 leads at 75 cents per lead, which they then turned into coaching clients, as well as upsold those leads through a course, through an email sequence. Again, following the exact same process that we followed for all companies that I showed you before. So with all that being said, hopefully you trust me a little bit to take you on this journey and show you and coach you a little bit on the system and the processes. So first, I kind of want to talk about why your internet marketing is currently inefficient. And it's important to understand the problem because a prescription without a diagnosis is malpractice, as my business coach always used to say. So I'll give you the 3 most common reasons I see, and then we'll talk about the 3 ways to fix them. So the first is that you're probably approaching paid traffic in a silo. Companies, agencies included, usually don't push integrated marketing strategies. And this is the wrong thing to do. And it's really not what's best for you. So if you're hiring an agency to take care of your paid traffic and they only focus on the traffic end and not what happens after the click, as well as what actually happens in the business, they're not doing right by you. What happens after the click is where the business occurs. And you need to understand not only how and where these clicks come from, but to understand and get the prospect to perform the business action, again called a conversion, you want them to perform on your site. You want to convert them from a site visitor to a lead. I mean, that's essentially what a conversion is, or a site visitor to a sale. That's why it's called a conversion. So here's what I see happen over and over again when new clients come my way. They tell me that paid traffic doesn't work. Hey, we hired an agency. They drove a lot of clicks, didn't drive any leads, and we're just going to cancel it. And we're not going to do it anymore. So just a complete waste of time, Adam. They feel frustrated, they feel burned, and they don't know what happened, which is just so frustrating. Again, that quote, half of all marketing spend is wasted and you don't know what half, that quote should not still be in existence. You should be able to tell the minute, actually really just a second, where the lead came from, what device they're on, what network they were on, and certainly what your cost per acquisition is, and then how to improve it. So the click needs to be seen as more of like an entrance to your store. And that means that clicks don't generate leads, but they're actually first touch point, right? So this is actually the back end of what we use to build landing pages unbound. So I don't have like a stake in their company or something, but I do like how they work. So think about it this way. If you just had people come into your store and you just had a bag of money that said put money in, and then you weren't tracking it, you weren't changing where the display is in your store, you weren't optimizing it, it wouldn't be a very good business. But by optimizing what the user wants based on where they are, what they search for, and previous interactions with the company, we can hone in on create small, business-focused, quick-loading pages called landing pages, which we will talk about in the very first section of this. And your cost per acquisition will go way down. Your advertising costs can go way down. But if you're not seeing that, if you're not understanding and optimizing what happens post-click, then you're honestly taking money out of your own pocket. So I want you to start thinking about the user first. How to tailor your post-click experience to deliver the best possible user experience for that specific user at that specific moment going forward. The second reason your marketing is inefficient is because you're not focused on business level impact. I know I harp on these things, but it's because you only have to know a certain amount of things, but you have to really, really focus on them. And this is really, really impactful. And I see this a lot with growing companies. I mean, Mark knows I work with a couple VCs out in California and specifically the Bay Area. They have all these new companies, you know, they want to be seen a lot. They want to get their name out there. Okay, that's great. But what about the business of it? It's really hard if you're not focused on the business. You know, people start seeing vanity metrics on the internet, like they look for the cheapest cost per click. You know, if an agency comes to you and they say, hey, we can get you the cheapest cost per click, either run or ask them if they take clicks as a form of payment. And I'll be the first to tell you, like, lead metrics can be important, right? That is a lead metric, but only in relation to how it affects your cost per acquisition, ultimately your return on ad spend. If you spend your time obsessing about your cost per click and not things like your cost per acquisition or your return on ad spend, you're sunk. You need to think about the quality as well, the quality of the leads, your revenue. So if you're focusing on the number of clicks, the views, the price of those individual clicks, those are just one metric. And it's an internet metric rather than a business metric. And at the end of this, I'll show you how to track the differences. So especially when it comes to Facebook marketing, I do want to point this out. They actually had a really big win in court yesterday. It can feel great when someone likes or comments, but that doesn't pay the rent. There's so many vanity metrics in Facebook. So what we need to do is reframe the understanding of what the important metrics are to shoot for and find your North Star and be relentless moving towards it. I'm going to show you through this process how we do this. I'm going to show you the proper way to think about your business metrics and how by structuring your optimization efforts, you can get way more business in a much more efficient way. And then the third and final reason that your internet marketing is inefficient is that you use the same offer regardless of the stage your prospect is in the funnel. Again, always be thinking about the user first, the prospect first. And this one's often overlooked. So this is a graphic that shows a basic funnel. So for example, when someone types into Google searching for what you actually offer, they're at the bottom of the funnel, and you can provide them an offer that has a high level of commitment, something like a consult offer that they have to commit their time to. Whereas if they're just scrolling through Facebook and they haven't previously interacted with your company and they see your ad and offer them a consult, you're sunk. It's too much of a commitment on their part for the stage that they're at in the funnel. You need to have multiple offers that match the different stages in the sales funnel. And doing this one change will get you more customers at a cheaper cost per acquisition if you want to really scale your company going above and beyond. And you really got to be great with this, right? There are so many marketing messages coming along. So especially, again, getting your prospect into the funnel, once they take that business action, it's so much easier to sell them to. It's actually kind of like Trader Joe's. Remember when they used to give out samples? Once you got a sample, you are much more likely to not only buy that sample, but buy many more things at Trader Joe's. So if you did want to learn more about this, I wrote an article about this in Search Engine Journal. Hint, the one flaw to destroying the conversion optimization test is not having different offers. But that's a perfect segue into what we're doing here. So I've shown you the 3 problems, and the next, basically the rest of this is all learning. I'm going to show you the 3 ways to actually fix those problems. And if I'm being honest, this is not some like generic strategy. This is something that we do every single day, not only with our clients, but for our own business. So I'm going to peel back the curtain and show you exactly what this looks like in practice. Let's do it. All right, so the first way to improve the efficiency of your online marketing is to have a conversion-focused landing page. Now, a lot of paid traffic agencies spend all their time talking about ads, copy, and video for Facebook. But I want to start where I actually see the biggest increase in efficiency. The page you send a user to after the click, aka the landing page. You might have heard this called a squeeze page. It has a variety of different names, but to standardize this, let's call this the landing page, which is the most common one. And when we go into audit paid traffic campaigns, which we've done for a bunch of bank clients, the number one thing that I find that's causing the problem is that you're not sending users to dedicated landing pages. Or if they are, the landing page is terrible. It's just bloated and not organized properly. And this is an inefficient waste of money. So what I want to do is tell you why a landing page is a strategic advantage. I'm going to run you through the 5 essential elements you need for your landing pages to drive business results. And I'm going to show you concrete real world examples. So I want to talk about what a landing page is. And the best definition I've ever found comes from Ollie Gardner, who is the founder of Unbounce. Again, I don't have a stake in them. I just think they're a great company. But a landing page is a dedicated campaign-specific web page that drives visitors to complete a single marketing goal or call to action. So let's break this down a little better. So by dedicated, we mean the page doesn't necessarily have ties to your website. It can look like your website, almost always will. It'll have same fonts, same colors, same design, but it's not necessarily attached to your website. And I'll show you that in an example. By campaign specific, we mean that it has a single marketing initiative. So if you have a Google Ads page, that'd be specific for that. Facebook specific for that. And even further broken down by campaign. This helps you keep what's called clean data. And most commonly landing pages, no navigation, so your visitors aren't going to look around. And really, if you were to take away what is a landing page, Adam? The goal of a landing page is to be a lightweight version of your website that has one specific goal. And this should be a page that's designed and launched quickly with no need for development, and can be split tested, so tested against itself for business results to see what works the best. So a lot of people send visitors to a home page versus a landing page. So I put up this little T-chart of the differences. And really the big takeaway here is your homepage's objective is to get a user to click more and learn more about your company. You know, you have all these navigations, you have all these blog posts if you're blogging, you may have videos, you may have an About Us page, but a landing page has one goal, and it's to drive a business action called a conversion. It is the most efficient tool I have ever found to convert a user from a visitor to a lead to a sale. So a homepage and a landing page are two totally different things. And again, I'm going to show you an example, but it's really important to understand why landing pages even exist. And this took me a while to get, like when I first started this. So they're like two different cars, right? Like you wouldn't drive a Jeep Wrangler on a race car track and you wouldn't take a Ferrari off-roading. They're two totally different purposes. Yes, they're both online and they both have a URL, but two totally different things. So I'm going to clarify this by showing you an example of the differences. So this is one of our clients called Access Credit. On the left, or would that be your left? Well, yes, on the left side with the lady smiling, that is their homepage. On the right side is the landing page we created for them. So left side, you can see they have a lot of menu options, drop downs. There, if you were to scroll further down that, there's all sorts of different copy and there's a lot of places for them to go. Now, their conversion rate, which is how many people see a page versus how many take the business action, is much, much, much lower than the page on the right, which is the landing page. The landing page has one specific action, and it's to get the user to get a free credit report, which they then receive. And during the reception of it, there's a presentation, which is actually much more of a sales presentation than anything else. I mean, they do get a credit report, and that's that's essentially their mini funnel. There's also a call button at the top of it. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but there's a call button at the top. That's a dedicated tracking number. That number rotates in real time so that we actually know what keyword, what device they're on. And we use that to shoot back into our data, talk to the business owner and see, you know, how the leads are performing. But that's the big difference. So if you go here, there's one thing to do, and there's only one thing to do. It's either become a lead or leave. If you go here, there's lots of things to do, and they're used for different purposes. So we use this in our paid traffic and conversion optimized funnel. So this is the funnel right here. This is usually the top of the funnel, but as you see, we go through it. Sometimes the landing page is broken up into a couple of different steps because you want people to get what's called your core conversion, and we'll get into that. But just for this purpose, this is the difference between a landing page and a home page. So let's talk about the different elements, because there's really only 5. There's a call to action or a form. Actually, this graphic is from Unbounce. So this is the call to action here in the form. So this is actually where the business action takes place. You have a headline, you have a subheadline, you have a hero shot, which is your shot right here. You have your benefits and features, and you have your social proof. So what I'm gonna do here is walk you through these 5 along with real landing pages that we've used that have been very successful, and give you what the key point is in each of these. Because just knowing you have a call to action or form, cool, that's not particularly helpful to you guys. Knowing what to put on that should drive your business results immediately. And that's what I want out of this. If nothing else, if we never talk and you never see me again, I'd like to help improve your business. So this is the first of the 5 elements for a landing page. We're gonna talk about the call to action, the form, and we're gonna use the real life example. We've used this exact page for our company, Nerds Do It Better, from Google Ads. So the call to action, the form, is one of, if not the most important element on your landing page. This is a place in your business that really drives the user to take the action and convert into a lead. So there's a couple of key elements when it comes to the form and the landing page. So very simply, let's start with the copy on the button right here. So you can see I put get my free consultation. This is very clear in my opinion and gets the prospect excited. You want to, on your button, tell the user what the end benefit they get of clicking the button is. It is 1,000,000 times better than the default of submit. You need to be thinking about your end user at all times, like become obsessed with it. Why would they want to submit? What's the benefit to them? What's the outcome of clicking the button that they want, and why is it valuable to them? Changing your button from submit to the end benefit the user gets will increase your conversions massively. And another thing here is just to make sure the button stands out. It's big, it's bold. You can see that there's a big bold color here. But really, if there's one thing to take away, and I'm going to give you one key takeaway from each portion, is to focus on what the user gets and you use that as a call to action on your form. Our job as marketers is to get people excited. And when they get excited and see value, what they do, they take action. We want our users taking action. So in this case, I either want them to take action of filling out the form to get the consultation and book that call, or they could call in directly. Either one of those was fine for me when I was running this campaign. So what I'm trying to do here is to get the user to click the dropdown on that first easy selection that they don't really need to think about, and then get them moving up the yes ladder by asking simple non-threatening questions first and getting the contact information last. So this is step 2 of 3 of the initial page. So this is why it's a funnel and not just a landing page. I like to have the form update to orient the user, because a confused person never ends up becoming a sale. So I put the step, I put this little dot that lets them know where they're at, lets them know that we just need a little more information. And then I've changed the call to action to continue to the final step. Again, we're orienting the user. And by breaking these down into small chunks, we are statistically significantly likely to increase the likelihood that they will fill out the complete form. And then there's the final page where we're actually getting the final information. I do use the first 2 steps, but they aren't nearly as important as getting the contact information. Again, the call to action goes back to what the end user gets. So again, we're looking at what makes it valuable. We're making sure it's easy to see. We're orienting the user. And we're just trying to streamline and visualize it here. These are the conversion elements that are necessary within your landing page to get a user to convert. You're going to be driving very specific traffic to these pages of people who are actively searching for what you do. So it's kind of yours to lose, right? You want to get them in, you want to have that sales conversation. That's really what matters. And that's why we have a landing page, is to drive conversions, to take people, to get them excited through our copy, through our offer, and ultimately convince them that we're the best opportunity that they have to solve the problems they've been searching for. The second of the 5 elements of an efficient landing page is the headline and the subheadline. This example comes from a landing page for a client, Puma, which helps law firms market themselves. And this to me is the second most important element of your landing page. It's the first place to grab the user's attention, because the fact is, from the moment a visitor hits your landing page, you have 5 seconds to grab their attention. We know this from eye tracking studies that the headline and subheadline are the first elements that they read and see, and that's intuitive as well, right? So the key takeaway, the one thing to know about the headline portion, is clarity above all. Clarity beats clever every time, hands down. I have never seen a split test where clever beat clear. If a visitor can't understand exactly what you offer in 5 seconds, you're sunk. Just as a side note, there is a company called Usability Hub that specifically runs 5-second tests for you. They show it to people and they tell you what they think of your page in 5 seconds, not if they like it or not, but what you're actually offering. So your headline really needs to do one of 2 things: clearly communicate what's being offered, and promise a clear, specific benefit to the audience. And one other final little note on the headline that I found to be very successful is to never write about yourself, but think, what's in it for me from the user's perspective. So when you do that and you're writing about the user, you're usually writing in the second person. So you can see it's get your free marketing consultation, grow your law firm at 25% by 25% in 12 months guaranteed, which is a great guarantee. I highly recommend Ked's company. I mean, they're one of my clients, but I do recommend them a lot. So I think you can see how this is much more persuasive than we provide free marketing, or sometimes people put a question looking to grow your marketing. You want to be really promising and being very clear of what the user gets. Again, always thinking about the user. So hopefully when your prospect looks at the headline, they know exactly what they'll get, as well as if it's for them. If it's not for them, you as a business don't want to waste your time like taking these calls either. The third of the 5 elements of an efficient landing page is the hero shot. This real world example comes from our client, Jeannie Spiro, out of Rhode Island. Most of the time you take a physical photo or an illustration, and it should add clarity or context. So this is, I actually put this in here just because people do ask about it. What if you have an ebook? How do you show someone reading an ebook in context? I prefer to make those look like an actual physical book. Those usually do really well. We run this one on Facebook and it's done really well. But if there is one takeaway from, and there is one takeaway from all of these, for the hero shot, it's to avoid stock photos. If you're just using a generic stock photo, you may as well not even have it in there. The fourth of the 5 elements of an efficient landing pages is the features and the benefits. This comes from our client ClearPath GPS, their GPS tracking service for quite a variety of things, actually. So look, visitors know you're not their only option. So this is where you get to persuade your visitors into learning why you're the best option. And I like to use these little icons to make it clearer. So you can see this is like a little fuel drop. Track maintenance has little gears. But the difference between a feature and a benefit is the benefit is what the end user wants, and the feature is how to get them there. So common marketing saying is you're selling the hole in the wall, you're not selling the drill, right? So a feature would be things like the drill's motor speed, but what they want is the hole in the wall. So these are the benefits here. They lower the fuel cost, they reduce the risk, they control the labor. So if there's one thing to take away from the features and benefits, is to sell the hole in the wall, not the drill. And the fifth and final element of what makes an effective landing page is social proof. And we'll use the real world example of the Nerds Do It Better page. Things like testimonials, press mentions, security seals, awards, case studies, other company logos all further convince a potential client that you're legit. Social proof is the key, and it helps people make a decision and drive them to action, right? So think about social proof just from the real world, because a lot of this stuff just is, the internet is in the real world, right? Like we have this artificial division, but it's the same thing. If you saw a restaurant and there was a line around the corner, you'd be much more interested in that restaurant than one that had nobody in it. And they can be kind of hard to get. So I suggest you start getting any sort of social proof you can now. And I suggest actually coming up with a framework for it, or a methodology or a system. I'm a huge fan of systematizing pretty much everything I can. And that's how I get case studies. That's how I get all these client feedbacks, even how I got in all those blogs. You know, this stuff doesn't just magically happen. Like you really have to think this through and either come up with your own system or come to people with me who already have a system where it works. Because they really start to stack up and make a huge difference. So the one takeaway for the element of social proof to increase the efficiency of a landing page is get a lot of it. You want a lot of high volume of social proof. And a further one, make it as easy as possible for people to give you that social proof. So again, the 5 elements of the efficient landing page are a call to action that tells the visitor what they get, a clear headline and subheadline, a hero shot that is not stock, benefits that sell the hole and not the drill, and a high volume of social proof.
Adam,
Now,
Adam,
yeah.
Adam, can I make a, there was a question from Ellen, and I don't know if this is the right time, but Ellen asked on the chat function, and I don't know if this is a technical question or not, but you know, how do you actually create a landing page separate from your website? Is that all tech, or what? You know, maybe Ellen, if you want to come on board and refine your question a little bit to Adam.
Oh, am I there?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I guess maybe it is sort of tech. Do you do this, Adam, within the website itself kind of thing, but you're sending them to a different page within your website so they are not really, even maybe the end user is not really aware of that? Or do you go completely outside of the website to do a separate landing page?
Yeah, so here, let me scroll back here so I can show you. So this is the access credit one and their thing. Now they, as a client, said, don't worry about the colors, the fonts, just do whatever you think will work the best. What we typically do is match the colors and fonts so that there's really no difference. And let's say that this was accesscredit.com. This page would be something like accesscredit.com / whatever we want to be, free customer report, something along those lines. And we build it typically, like I said, in Unbounce. There's a million landing page builders. That's just the one I've used in the past. So it lives on your URL, but it's built differently. Like this is a WordPress page, I believe. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this is built in Unbounce. So we typically build an Unbounce and match on the page. Now, if your hosting provider doesn't allow you to host on that exact page, I think we've had trouble with that. I think it was Kajabi. I remember the exact one. You do what's called a subdomain. So instead of accesscredit.com for this, it would be get.accesscredit.com. And the only way that anyone could ever come to these pages is through the channels that we have, through the channels that we send them to. So they don't exist in the sitemap either. Is that kind of what you were asking? Like, does it exist on the URL or how we built it?
Yep, that explains it. Great, thank you.
Cool. No, happy to help. Believe me, I know how confusing all this stuff is. All right. So pillar number 2 here to increase the efficiency of your marketing is your offer. And so one of the biggest reasons you're struggling is because you're using the same offer regardless of the stage the user's at in the sales funnel. And the one offer is just not enough. It just isn't going to grow your business to the level you want to be at. you need to match the offer to the stage the user's at in the sales funnel. And I'm going to help you show you exactly how we do it. But before we do that, I want you to think of your offer as the single most important variable that you can change in your marketing, unquestionably. If you have the level of strategy and understanding that we do, and honestly, I've just done this a million times, you'll see how doing this aligns you to what the user is looking for and how you can get them to perform the core business action that you want, which I'm calling the core conversion. And I will show you very much in depth how you come up with your core conversion offer. I'm going to show you how to use this strategy really in any network that you want and to get your offer in front of the right person at the right time in the right stage of the sales funnel. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't get them to take the action you want, regardless of which stage that they're at. So we're going to talk about top, mid, bottom. But just offering a consult isn't enough. Just offering a sale isn't enough. It's just not going to push you up to the level that you want to be at. That's not why you're here. We need to make your marketing strategy whole, one that can work and meet users at different stages of the consideration cycle and still get the business result you care about. We need to start by focusing on your prospects and where they're at first. That's kind of the glue between all your marketing efforts. Now I'm going to show you how you can take this strategy and push it across everything and really distribute it and get in front of the right people with the right offer at the right stage in the sales cycle. And again, become the company that's able to acquire customers cheaper and more efficiently than your competitors. So let's talk about it. So just a supporting quote to give you more ammo what I'm talking about here. The average American sees between 4,000 to 10,000 marketing messages per day. And you probably knew something along those lines, right? So how do some of those messages break through? What is it about the message that makes some stand out and some disappear? Is it the copy? Is it the image? I would argue, and the stats would generally back me on this, that no, it's actually the offer that makes the biggest difference. And once you get your foot in the door and begin building that relationship with the client, getting them in your sales cycle, getting them to know, like, and trust you, they're much more likely to end up making that purchase from you. And this is just to remind you that you seriously need to think about your prospects first and be the company that actually meets them where they are, because if you don't, your competitors will. So let's break down the offer funnel a little bit because this is really important. So one thing that we've been able to discover through a lot of our clients through testing, the two biggest levers that we actually have in terms of business metrics are the stage that the prospect is in the sales funnel and the actual cycle. Like certain people, your prospects can be very commitment phobic. If you ask for too big a commitment, like giving up their valuable time in exchange for a consult, too high up the funnel, then you're sunk. I want to make sure that you keep this in mind because there's so much content out there. But those contents are giving you micro metrics. They're not giving you the big lever you can pull. Again, we're talking stage in the funnel and offer. So let's look at this a little bit more here. Where we look at offers, or we break this down to a traditional marketing funnel by intent. There's top funnel, mid funnel, and bottom funnel. And the reason we do this is to understand which stage the audience is in the customer journey and what type of offers based on commitment levels that we need to put in front of them to get them to convert and eventually take our core conversion offer. And this one is really important because your core conversion offer is the engine that drives the efficiency in your business. Now, I'll break down core conversion offers based on verticals, but you want to save those for bottom funnel offers unless you use our yes ladder funnel, which I'll show you a direct example of. So top funnel offers are low commitment level. They're like quizzes, toolkits, and they're people who have never heard of your company before. You know, maybe the networks to promote it on include Facebook, YouTube, via demographic, psychographic targeting. Mid funnel, they're courses, webinars. These are people usually on your remarketing lists, and you find them on Facebook or the Google Display Network. These offers have a higher level of commitment to where a prospect will spend time, commit their time with your brand, and bottom funnel is going to be that core offer. So for example, top of funnel, just think very low commitment where the user is given very little information. They have to provide very little information and they can consume the content in a very small amount of time and immediately adds a large amount of value. And how can we really add value to your customer? And what this really comes down to is really understanding your customer. So mid funnel, we're thinking about results. So what you'll notice here is we're not talking about ad copy or keywords, right? We're talking about business level impact. Because most often when your marketing is inefficient, you're not generating leads, it's because you built it off keywords or ad copy rather than offers. You took what the agency said, hey, these keywords are cheap, let's send them to the homepage. We didn't think about what the prospect cared about. And then once you understand your core customer and what stage they're at in the funnel, it's just about solving the problems and understanding where they are and how they consume your offer. So for example, I work with a bunch of lawyers. they really prefer to read. So I might offer as a top of the funnel white paper, whereas I work with a lot of real estate agents, they prefer to see videos. So top of the funnel will be a video offer. So this is really how I think about offers. And again, I think about these 3 stages we need to understand, and that in each one of these stages has a different intent or goal that we need to match our offer to hit the goal, the prospect with the lowest level of commitment. Again, top funnel is about value adding, mid funnel is results. It could be case studies, it could be webinars, and the bottom funnel is the core offer. So let's just break this down with real world examples. So if it's top of the funnel, these are visitors who are having their first touch point with your brand. They don't really know who you are, and they're not really looking for what you have to offer. These are users who you can target via demographic and psychographic targeting, but they're not necessarily looking for your product and they don't know you. These are people who end up on your site, landing page, or even mobile app install, and they don't really know you. And so a lot of times they're not really even sure how they got there. So you can imagine this type of traffic has a very low probability of converting on your core offer, which is your main objective. So you really want your core audience, you want to figure out what entices and interests them, gets them to stop scrolling through Facebook and YouTube, a scroll stopper, and gets them to be excited, where they're willing to take a business action of a small commitment device and providing their first name and email. So some examples we have include quizzes, which are easy to fill out and are kind of like diagnostics. It's so much more engaging to say, discover how much you can save by switching to XYZ than 10 ways to save with XYZ. Very top of funnel, works very well, very engaging. Email newsletters work really well on this one. You know, you can have an email newsletter that actually provides real value. So if you use this, you really need to provide an explicit reason for them to sign up. None of this just sign up for a newsletter. Again, think about the end user. What's in it for them? So I'll show you this on an example on the next slide. And finally, toolkits are a pretty good one. You know, you can use this tool to get XYZ, provides immediate value. The tools are, I'm not gonna say easy, somewhat simple to build these days. There's a whole bunch of ways to do it. We use Google Sheets for quite a bit of it, and it works really well. You can then use that email that you get from them for remarketing across Facebook, YouTube, and Google, and move them up the value ladder. So here's an example of the top of the funnel offer, and this is from Compass Real Estate, and exactly what I told you I was going to show you before. And you can see this is a very top of funnel offer with a very low commitment. Over here on the left side, this is essentially sign up for an email list. It's an early notification list for properties under 750,000 in San Diego, and a call to action, yes, please notify me. And this did really, really, really well. Like I said, it drove 700% more conversions. So audiences know this is easy and engaging, and this is actually a really good example because it's actually a multi-step funnel, which I'm quite a big fan of. Once they fill this out, they fill out a bit more information here on what I call the bridge page. I know you guys can't all see this, but it's what are you most interested in? Home, unit, new build, tear down. And then we also realize if people are looking to buy a home, they may also be looking to sell a home. A certain percentage of them are. That's actually how we end up getting them so many seller leads. But it all started with this very top of funnel offer. Now, if we had just said, hey, you want to talk to a real estate agent and get a consult on Facebook, it wouldn't have worked. So we do use this for their email marketing. We built remarketing audiences, their ecosystem. And as we build this more and more over time, it really just continued to add value. And this is a really good example of why you need to think about your customer journey and the stages in their funnel rather than just a consultation. So like I said, as this continued to grow and as people continue to get these properties every week, a certain percentage of them would take the agent up on that, and he ended up selling some properties on it. So now let's look at the mid-funnel offer stage match. And this is where you can ask a little bit more because they do know you in this stage. The mid-funnel still continues to include YouTube and social like Facebook, but these are people who have had a touch point with your company before. Offers can be things like courses. Now, again, we're talking about commitment level. If someone's taking a course from you, it's a bit more time than just filling out an email, right? You know they're going to be spending time with you. You know, I like courses a lot. They work really well. People get to know, like, and trust you. Real case studies work really well. As long as there's a story to them, and they're not just like, hey, here's a straight up case study. It really showing how you accomplished it really drives a lot to it. And if they are videos, you can also retarget people based on the percentage of the video that they watched. And you know if they're watching the video or not. Webinars can be really good as long as you provide actual value, which I hope I'm doing here. And you can also remarket to prospects based on the percentage of the video that they watch. I also like webinars and podcasts as well, because at the end of the day, people do business with people, right? and you come across as much more of a person on webinars and podcasts instead of just writing. I've noticed a real difference between the leads I get from webinars versus people who have read what I wrote. It's not even close. They're so much friendlier. They're so much warmer when they come from a webinar. So here's the real world example. This comes from Doggy Dan, one of our clients. And this one's done really well, driven a ton of leads and end up being a ton of sales. And this is, again, for people who already knew Doggy Dan. So this isn't people who are cold audiences. Maybe they've read one of his articles, they see one of his videos. This is the next step. It gets them to see him as the real thought leader he is. It provides value, and it gets people to make that connection. So this is the 3-day challenge, which we actually came up with at the beginning of COVID, because you're in your house, right? Way to transform your dog or puppy without leaving the house. And this offer built the email list and continues to build, and he continues to sell to them. We track revenue based on what's known as first touch attribution. So I can tell who's bought based on who's originally came from this funnel. We use the email as the key. If you guys ever do software, so that's our key. And I can tell way down the road if they came through this funnel, if they bought. It also lets us know lead and lag time on purchases and average order value per challenge. So this is a beautiful challenge to remarket off the back of. Anyone who signed up for this is clearly interested in improving the training for dogs, right? You have to be a complete psycho to not be interested in that and then go through this training. And we track the percentage of the training videos they watched as well. And we also do different offers based on how they responded to the form. So this is actually something. So this is obviously a slide, but if you click this in real world, it pops up and asks you a couple questions about your dog. We will give you different offers based on your dog and what the challenges that they're having as well. We can set up remarketing ads. You're still having trouble training your dog, we can help you, something along those lines. Everyone who takes this challenge is a potential customer. And because they've interacted and gotten value from it, they're much more likely to be a customer as well. And then the final one is bottom. So this one I want to spend a little time on. These are the core commitments, the core conversions I was talking about. So we do a lot of lead gen, obviously. So if your offer is over $1,000, your core commitment is probably going to need to be a consult. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to sell something for over $1,000 without getting a consult. Could happen, but it's unlikely, and I would say it actually hurts your bottom line. If you're in new technology, trials work really, really well. Give someone a 7-day trial, 7-day, 1-day trial if you're concerned and want to see if they'll put in their credit card information, but 7-day free trials work really well. A lot of software as a service companies do it. If it's difficult to understand, demos work really, really, really well. If it's a commodity, you can just do a quote. So like I have a bunch of pavers. So one paver is essentially the same as another. You can just give a quote for that. And if it's under $1,000, you can try for purchase. Although I would say, like, generally it would be better to do a consult. I mean, they just work so well. They can be a pain, but it's business. Like, you sometimes have to do stuff you don't particularly want to do. So just as an example, this comes from our client Renegade Bio. They're a COVID testing company out of Oakland. People don't need an ebook, right? If they're typing in COVID testing near me, let's get them to schedule a test, which is exactly what happens when they click that button. So there is one exception to this, which I discovered, I don't even remember how I discovered this, but it's the Yes Ladder Warp Speed warm-up, where you're able to actually take a bottom funnel offer and get a top funnel person to take it. And I'm going to show you exactly how we did this with a real world example. So this is that Cloud Medical client I was telling you about. So they came to me, they said consults didn't work. So we started thinking to ourselves, how do we match the stage the visitor is in with when they know nothing about DPC, direct primary care, with the offer? So instead of trying to just get them to take a consultation, we first got them to download an ebook, which is step 1. Step 2, the bridge page, we offered them the consult. Now, this is an important concept. We know for sure that on the thank you page, we have their complete attention. And it's the only place that you really know you have the complete attention of someone. You might, if you're Google and on the search results page, which was actually their whole value proposition, that they know nothing, but they know the complete attention is that they have it then. But by doing this and stacking this, a certain percentage of people will take it. So if you want to use this Yes Ladder Warp Speed warm-up, what you need to do is think of a top funnel offer, which you will match with the top funnel networks. And then you can put your bottom funnel core conversion on the next page. It doesn't always work, but it does work enough that it's worth trying. and it costs you nothing to put on the thank you page, right? So I highly recommend at least trying this out. It's worked for a couple of our clients. I mean, you saw in Compass, we were even able to upsell and see like if they were a seller lead as well. So really, this is the most important thing for your business right now. It's understanding the customer journey in your offers, how to segment your audience, how to come up with offers, how to create offers, and how to distribute your offers with the stages in the customer journey. And this, if you do want to read more, I think I included in the slides all the links. This includes a lot more examples from Search Engine Journal. I wrote this article. I write for them a lot. So the final one, because I guess we're running out of time here, I'll go through this quickly, is the business level impact. So you want to be thinking about the business metrics versus the internet metrics. Internet metrics are clicks, cost per conversion, impressions. When it comes to internet marketing, your North Star is always about how much money is being made. You want to tie any optimization efforts into money. And the key here is understanding the difference between lead metrics, which are what I consider the internet metrics, and lag metrics, which are the business metrics, like what's actually driving revenue, right? So this is where a lot of marketing agencies fail. They're thinking and reporting on getting you cheap clicks when they should be thinking about what are the best mechanisms for turning a site visitor into a client. Again, agencies not understanding that while the internet's fun, it's new, it's still a bottom line business. So I'll go through this pretty quickly. So when it comes to business level impact, there's really three things. You have your traffic, your conversion, and your sale. And that's really it when it comes down to the brass tacks here. If you have great quality traffic and you can't convert it, you're not going to get the results. If you're getting quality traffic and converting that traffic, but you suck at sales, you're not going to get the results. What I actually like to do is flip it. So I like to think about this backwards. So if you double your closing rate, that means you're generating revenue from a higher percentage of leads than before. That also means you can expand your marketing efforts to other platforms because you can withhold a higher cost per acquisition. If you were to double your conversion rates, then you can double your average cost per click bids. You can outrange your competitors and get a higher impression share, and therefore get more traffic, all while keeping your ad budget the same. But if you only focus on this first part, if you're only focused on your traffic, well, you're only really doing micro improvements, and you hit a ceiling really quickly. So I always recommend to start from the back. I'm like, how do you do this? Well, this is a direct example from one of our clients. This is a CRM that we built for them. I blocked out everything I think I need to block. Yeah, good, I did. And so what we actually do is look at the quality over the quantity. So what this actually is a sheet that in real time tells us the keyword, which you can see in column I, tells us the lead, tells us optional information is the information they type into the form. And then the client tells me the status of it and reads it back to me. So Google only knows if you got a lead, if you got a sale, if you got a phone call. Well, that's great if you only care about quantity. But for most of my clients, there's tremendous difference in the quality based on the keywords. And also we find out what they're asking. So in this case, they're a medical transportation company, and people were asking a lot about COVID, not surprisingly. So we started putting that on the landing page, and we found that increased the quantity of conversions as well, because now people were no longer having that question. It's right there in front of them. But let's just say that we found that a certain keyword was driving a type of lead that was much more profitable for the client. Well, we're going to really bid much more on that keyword. And this is the Google Ads network. Another one to think about too is, from a business standpoint, is calls versus form fills. Calls are way more valuable than form fills. They're 5 to 10 times more valuable. And as you can see just from this here, this is a direct screenshot too. We got this client 345 calls, but only 12 form fills. But that's what they wanted. And that's because we looked at their business metrics. What is actually becoming a sale? Calls are great because they overcome objections. So people are always going to have objections, and you need to actually talk to them. And fast response. People on the internet want stuff yesterday. Be fast in your response with it. Here are 3 ways to get more. You can do click to call ads, which is directly this. This is a Google click to call ad. Definitely drives calls. Click to call on the page. So when this is mobile, this is click to call. And put the call to action in your, put the call in the call to action, right? So see how this says call now here? That's a great way to tell people what you want them to do and actually get them to do it. And then the final bit is attribution modeling. This is going to be way longer than it needs to be. So I'll just tell you this. There are different ways to decide what the business level impact is. And none of them are wrong or none of them are right. It's just like, how do you actually want to do it? If it's first interaction, so someone downloads an ebook and then 3 months later they become a lead, do I want to say, hey, that's what made the sale? You can do time decay, you can do linear, you can say only the last interaction. So they saw a video, they became a lead, then they read a blog post, and then they became a sale. Do you want to say it's the blog post? There's all different ones you can do. I actually have quite a bit more on this, but I know I'm running over time, so I'm not going to do too much more on that. So this is my offer if you do want to take it. If you want to apply this to your business, you can feel free to go to nerdsdoitbetter.com/consult. I think Mark will tell you I'm not a hard sell kind of guy. Hope you guys can tell that just from this webinar. We'll take you through, if you've done marketing before, we'll look at your stats and tell you how you can improve it. If you haven't, we'll give you some ideas. And yeah, we'll show you some of the exact frameworks and actual processes that we use. And that is the webinar.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. We come to the formal, end of our hour, but we'll hang on a little bit. If there's questions that people want to ask now, please, use the chat function, and we'll stay on as long as we have some questions. Adam, I want to thank you very much. I think kind of demystifying for me, this whole process. When you look at internet marketing, if you're not a tech guy, it seems as though it's a world you don't understand. But you basically were able to show how metrics, psychology, customer focus leads to business results, and that's kind of blocking and tackling that's been around forever. So I appreciate that and how you applied it to to this novel kind of digital world. So thank you very much on that. If there's any other questions, first I will mention that this is being recorded. Adam gave a tremendous amount of information. We will post this very shortly on our YouTube site, so you can go back and look at the webinar and pull out things you might not have saw the first time around. Or I'd certainly invite you to contact Adam directly and let him do a consult if you have any questions or comments. Thanks, people. I think Lauren said, where can we rewatch this event? We'll post it on our YouTube channel shortly, so you'll be able to rewatch it here. Ellen, thanks for your comments. For BFPT for hosting, and Adam for doing a great job. Thank you, Ellen, for participating. Okay, well, if there is no other comments, I know we've taken your time. Kevin, thank you very much for your kind words there. Folks are signing up for consults. I would let them reach out to Nerds Do It Better, schedule your consult, apply these results to your business, get higher. As Adam said, it's all about business results. It's not the metrics that should enamor you, it's actually the dollars and the cents. So please reach out to Adam. Thank you very much. We hope to have another intriguing webinar in about a month or so. And Adam, enjoy your time on the West Coast, and thank you all very much today for participating. I'm going to end it in about 10 seconds. Thank you.